G'day Pleasy, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce your name. Today I'm going to try and do a quick video for you, dude, on how to get to 10,000. As you can see, I'm number 7 on 15,000, and I've been getting close to 15 quite a bit. While you're in the settings, the first thing you actually want to do is go into the field of view, which is this one, and turn it all the way up. That just helps see a little bit more stuff on the left and right. The other one is sensitivity. Now, a lot of people don't like playing on a higher sensitivity, but I 100% recommend it for a couple of reasons. If you can't play on 100 straight away, turn it to like 60, then 70, then 80, then 90, and then eventually all the way up to 100. The reason for that is it allows you, when there's like a group of enemies, it just allows you to give it a little wiggle and you kill the entire group. Try and watch that when I see this first group of enemies in a second. So that group there, just a little wiggle and they're all dead. Now if you had a slow sensitivity, you'd be dragging it like this, trying to wipe everything out, and it's just, this game's very fast, so you just need to give little things a wiggle and get used to it as well. Get used to wiggling your screen around and not being put off of your actual position in the game. Because you find if you do this, like in these early segments, just keep wiggling it around, getting used to where you are, you'll actually be able to see purples. Like, you'll get used to identifying where purples actually are just from your eyes trying to, identify purples. Where's a purple? It helps you quite a bit, in all honesty, get used to the sensitivity as well. Now at this couple of early levels, just jump into an orb, turn around, so jump, turn, and then run straight back along the ground. You don't want to be jumping way into the sky and, losing all the orbs straight away. Until you get to about 3,000, you sort of can just keep jumping, diving straight back in, and run through. When you're running through walls, like this wall, or whenever you see a wall, I tend to run through them on an angle. So I'll run with, like this angle. That way you're sort of shooting through the wall. You're still running, but you're not running directly into a giant number of enemies. You're running at an angle. So it's going to allow you to shoot through a wall while staying ahead of the wall. That's sort of a huge thing that I find when I just have days where I'm playing terribly. I'm not running through things on an angle. So hopefully that tip alone, like here, I'm running past it on an angle. I'm trying to get through the enemies just so I can run back through. I'm not trying to take all the enemies on, and I'm not trying to pick up all the gems either. I'm trying to pick up as many as I can, but there's a huge wall, so I'm running on the angle, and I see a purple. If I had to run at the wall directly, you'd end up like getting wiped out by it, and it would have just been a waste. If you can as well, like I've just done, jump through a wall and then follow the wall and keep shooting it, because that'll just allow you to kill a couple more enemies. Again, big wall, I'm trying to run directly behind the wall, keep shooting it, and that's just giving you a couple more gems. I mean, they're sort of free gems, but yeah, this game, man, you're not going to necessarily do really well every run either. I still have runs where I do absolutely disgraceful, just based on either me trying something new or not being too, on point. But again, I shoot tiny little hole through a wall, jump down, pick up the orbs, try and jump into the purple as well. Like, I'm looking for purples all the time. That's all I'm doing, looking for purples. Where's the next purple I'm going to jump into? There's one. Jump into it, try and run through here, jump into these because the enemies are getting a little bit tight. Shoot through, shoot through, shoot through. Sometimes you just have to power through stuff. And here we go. Missed that, so we're just not going to worry. Enemies are getting really heavy as well now in numbers, so what I'm going to do is just jump up a little bit, give myself a bit of time. And that'll allow you sometimes just to avoid complete... I'm going to die here. No, I'm not, because I ran on the angle. See what the angle does for you, man? When you run on the angle, you're just allowing yourself to have that little bit of time to run past everything. Running, turn around there, because I know I'm nearly at 10. Oh, we're getting closer to it for you. Run on the angle. Too many enemies. I'm just jumping past everything, trying to look for a purple here because the run's not going too well. Got a purple, but I don't know if this will be enough for 10. Running, too many enemies, so I just jumped straight up. Finding a purple, too many enemies chasing me upstairs, so we drop down. Too many enemies again here, so I'm trying to just avoid getting killed by letting enemies hit me. Found a purple, found a second purple. I'm going to jump down and we'll be at 10. There you go, and I ran through on the angle there, and we nearly got through, like we nearly weaved back through it. So there's a run for you. Now, to give you an idea, I was trying to record this a couple of times, and I've probably been playing it for like 20 minutes, just trying to give you an example of how you run through, because the game's that fast. But to give you an idea again, if you want to watch the second one, we'll just... Maybe I won't talk as much this run, and I'll give you an idea of how it actually just plays out when I'm, just running around through the game. At the start, there's a cool strategy you can do. I hope that they revert the old back, so you can don't have to jump into as many purples at the start here, and it builds a little bit quicker. But you can basically just look how I'm just wiggling tiny little wiggles, and the sensitivity on 100 is just enough to wipe out all these things. We're already at 200. I keep running till we get to nearly 300, giving it wiggles. There we go, jump down, look at all those enemies. And that gives you a chance to get used to running through walls as well on the angle. Running through the walls on the angle. Give it a wiggle. When you start finding enemies like on the sides and top of the screen start like appearing, that means they're probably about to kill you. So what you want to do is jump. When that's not happening, you don't need to jump, but if there's too many enemies at the top and sides of the screen, that means jump. I'll run forward here now just so you can see what I'm talking about. See how there's the sides of the screen are getting quite hassled? See how close they were? That's about as late as you can jump there. If you don't jump, you will definitely get killed. So jump, I shot through a wall, and then I sort of turned around and try and weave my way back through the wall. Again, looking for purples, and turn around. Because of the sensitivity on 100, you can kind of run past the orb and then just flick it. Turn around with a little flick like that. And it just allows you to hit the purple orbs and kill a couple more things. There's a purple, jump through it, and there's another purple there. So even though I'm in slow-mo, I'm not looking at the gems, I'm looking for the purple, because gems will take care of themselves, generally speaking. There's a purple here, run through everything, try and land. Try not as well to run, I saw this on a tip in one of the threads on Steam. Try not to run, and it works as well, too long in one direction, but at the same time don't be like, I'm running this direction, now I'm running this direction. Just run until you're getting hassled on the sides of the screen, and then try and jump out of it, or try and jump into a purple. If you're jumping and turning too much, you will get killed by stuff on the sides of the screen a lot. So here you can see again, I'm at 6. This is a really good strategy to get you to 6 quite a bit. I'm getting hassled a lot, so I'm going to jump up, turn around, and get out of there. Not worried too much about the gems, because again, they take care of themselves. Lots of purples, so that gave us a chance, but you can see it wasn't worth the risk. It wasn't worth turning around to pick up the actual gems. It's just not worth the risk. So again, that's like a run where I learnt something myself. It's not always going to hit you 10 grand. I thought I had a little bit more time there to run through, but I didn't, so I got wrecked. It's just not worth always going for for the gems. Sometimes you've just got to take the loss. And it's not a loss either, because you're still killing a whole bunch of enemies on the screen. And later on, that means you'll pop 1 gem, and you'll kill like 5 gems from the, chain reaction, and you'll end up with hundreds of gems. I think at one point when I was on 14, I like popped 1 gem, and I was on 15 before I'd hit the ground, or something ridiculous like that. So it's pretty straightforward to do, man. I've hit 14-8 a few times as well. So as well, when you are running into purples here, shoot them, and it sort of will reflect the bullets. So if you're really getting hassled and you don't want to jump too soon, shoot them and see how it sort of just kills things behind you a little bit. It's like a reversing camera, or reversing mirror, revision mirror. Just allows you to sort of shoot behind yourself, make a tiny little bit of a path, cleared, jump, turn around, run straight back through. Honestly, hitting 3000 shouldn't be too much of a hassle for you at all. I mean, you can still have runs where you just don't do it because you had bad luck, or you did something a little bit different. But instead of landing there, I try and jump straight back through it. Then you can land and pick up whatever's, on the floor. It's worth getting more gems through popping a couple of purples than getting 1 and dying. So always remember that. Try and pop a couple of purples if you can. Pop a couple of purples over getting gems. Again, shoot through the walls. As you can see, there's big walls starting, but I'm still trying to run mostly when I'm running on the angle. And that's both sides as well. When I circle the other way, I'm running on the angle this way. I'm not running straight very often at all. Unless I'm running following a big wall and I'm just shooting like this. So at that point, I'm pretty much just pressing forward. But every other time, I'm pressing forward and left or right. There we go. Pop that and then jump back through. Pop this one, jump straight back through. Looking for a purple. There's a purple. And we'll... Sometimes those as well, and that's nearly exactly the same thing that happened before, but that time we had a little bit more time. This is going to be a really good amount of gems here. As you can see, you pop a couple at a certain point, and gems will come to you, man, naturally. take a little bit of time sometimes getting to that second orb as well. Like if you pop this orb here and then another one appears just further out, try and swivel it like at the last minute. Don't necessarily jump straight to it and pop it, because that way enemies are right behind you again, and you're going to pop it with a couple more, being worth a couple more than just, you know, 2 or 3 gems popping. So it's getting a bit hectic now, so I'm going to try and go upwards. I see a couple of purples up, but there's a lot of enemies following me, so I'm going to fall back down to the floor. This just gives me a bit of time to try and find another purple or a path in. Found a path in. There's a purple, and that should be nearly at 10 again. Straight through. And we're going to jump straight back up, straight into this one. There's another purple, because I said always worth popping purples over getting the gems. So we pop purples, and we're at 11. This has actually been a really good example of sort of how, when you're playing well, again, running straight through on the angle, you get through. And at this point of the game, if you do reach this point, just try and live. Don't try and pick up gems at all, unless you've got a heap of time, like now would be a perfect time. Pop this. Again, I'm only trying to live. I'm not... big wall. That wall got so big, man. But there you go. So that's how you pretty consistently hit 10. I think I had 1 or 2 in the middle there that wasn't 10. But following those tactics of like turning, like popping enemies, turning around immediately, which is a bit of a, you know, muscle memory on the W, A, S, and D keys. Always be so like W, and then the second you press jump, so W, press jump, then turn. And it should be a tiny little thing of the mouse as well, tiny little swirl of the mouse. So W, turn. And why I'm turning, I've got nothing else pressed, I'm just pressing D. W, press the wrong key there, W, turn. Because if you're pressing D, that means you're also going immediately the other way. So see how I'm running this way now? That's from D. Whereas if you run forward and then turn, that means you're immediately strafing on the angle again, which is really helpful. But anyway, man, I'm probably going to sit here and keep playing this now for a bit, because I'm hitting 10 regularly, and I've warmed up. So hopefully this will give you a bit of a hand getting to 10 yourself. If there's anything else I can sort of do for you, or like give you tips on, please feel free to let me know, because I'll be happy to do another video on this fucking amazing game. But yeah, dude, best of luck getting to 10,000. You can do it, man. Go for it, buddy.